The first snip didn't just slice through hair, it sliced through dignity. It was broad daylight, the hallway flooded with the pale gold of late morning sun pouring through high windows, lockers glowing in long metallic rows like silent witnesses. Students froze mid-step as the buzzing clippers came alive. Laughter echoed sharp and cruel. A blonde ponytail, thick, proud, carefully brushed that morning, was yanked hard enough to make eyes water. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing up when it matters most, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to And Stories. Your support keeps stories like this alive and reminds the world that courage still exists. Maricela Quinn had always believed that cheerleading wasn't about bows and bright smiles. It was about discipline, about balance, about holding your head high even when your muscles trembled. Her ponytail was part of that discipline, a ritual every morning before school. She would stand at the small mirror in her room, smoothing every strand, thinking about her mother's words from years ago, hold your head high, even when they try to push it down. But no one had prepared her for this. Tate Holloway, varsity linebacker and self-appointed king of the school corridors, grinned as he held the clippers near her hair. His friends blocked the hallway, phones out, recording. It had started as teasing weeks ago, snide remarks about her perfect routines, whispers that she thought she was better than everyone else. In truth, Maricela had simply earned her spot as team captain through sweat and bruises no one ever saw. She felt the first jagged pull as Tate tightened his grip on her ponytail. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and cafeteria fries. Her heart pounded so loudly it drowned out the laughter. For a split second, fear paralyzed her. She thought of shrinking, of pleading. Then the clippers buzzed closer. Something inside her shifted. Not anger, not exactly. It was something steadier. A memory of endless hours in a small community martial arts studio after school, where her uncle had taught her that strength wasn't about hurting others, it was about knowing you could protect yourself. The clippers grazed her hair. A few strands fell like pale confetti. And in one swift, fluid motion, Maricela pivoted. Her leg arced through the air in a perfect roundhouse kick, precise and controlled. Her sneaker connected with the clippers, knocking them clean out of Tate's hand. They clattered against a locker and fell silent on the tiled floor. The hallway gasped. No one had expected that. Tate stumbled backward, more shocked than hurt. His laughter died in his throat. Maricela didn't follow up with another strike. She didn't need to. She stepped back, shoulders squared, eyes steady, one hand instinctively lifting to her half-severed ponytail. In the sudden silence, her breathing sounded loud and raw. She could feel the uneven weight of her hair, hacked and jagged. Humiliation burned hot in her chest, but it was no longer suffocating her. It was fueling her. A teacher's voice broke through the crowd moments later, demanding to know what was happening. Phones lowered, students scattered. Tate muttered something about it being a joke, but the evidence was on the floor, and so were the strands of Maricela's hair. By lunchtime, the video had spread across the school like wildfire. Some clips ended right before her kick, capturing only the moment of her vulnerability. Others showed the full arc of her leg sending the clippers flying. Opinions divided the hallways. Some called her dramatic, others called her brave. Maricela sat alone at an outdoor bench under the bright noon sun, the wind brushing against the uneven ends of her hair. She had taken scissors to it herself in the restroom, cutting it into a shorter, blunt style. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't what she had chosen, but it was hers. The real pain wasn't the hair. It was the betrayal. Tate had once been someone she considered a friend. They had grown up in the same neighborhood, shared bus rides in middle school, laughed about silly things. Somewhere along the line, popularity had changed him. Or maybe it had simply revealed him. That afternoon, the principal called both of them into the office. The room felt too small, too formal. Tate avoided her gaze. His father, a stern man in a tailored suit, stood behind him with crossed arms. Maricela's guardian, her older sister Anika, stood tall beside her, eyes fierce with protective love. The school had a zero-tolerance policy for harassment. Suspension was immediate, removal from the football team followed. Tate's expression flickered from arrogance to disbelief. Consequences had never seemed real to him before. As they left the office, whispers followed Maricela down the hall. But this time, the whispers weren't cruel. They were curious. Some were admiring. A freshman girl she barely knew approached her near the stairwell and quietly said that she wished she had been brave enough to stand up to her own bullies. That night, alone in her room, Maricela finally allowed herself to cry. The daylight confidence melted into quiet vulnerability. She ran her fingers through her shortened hair and felt the uneven edges. It felt like a symbol of something taken from her without permission. She thought about quitting cheerleading, about disappearing into the background for the rest of the year. But when morning came, sunlight streamed through her curtains again, and she remembered that strength wasn't loud. It was consistent. She returned to school the next day with her head high and her new haircut styled neatly. The cheer squad fell silent when she walked into the gym. For a heartbeat, she worried they would see her as damaged, less than the polished captain they were used to. Instead, her co-captain stepped forward and hugged her tightly. One by one, the others followed. No pity, just solidarity. Practice that day was harder than usual. The routine required tight spins and synchronized high kicks. Maricela pushed herself, sweat stinging her eyes, muscles burning. Every leap felt like reclaiming something. Every landing felt grounded in a new kind of confidence. Meanwhile, Tate sat at home suspended, the echo of that hallway moment replaying in his mind. For the first time, he had been the one exposed. Not powerful, not untouchable, just a boy who had made a cruel decision in front of an audience. Days turned into weeks. The buzz faded, but the impact remained. Maricela started volunteering after school to help younger students learn basic self-defense at her uncle's studio. It wasn't about teaching them to fight. It was about teaching them to stand steady, to set boundaries, to believe in their own space. One afternoon, as golden sunlight filtered through the gym windows, Tate returned to school. The swagger was gone. The hallway felt different for him now. Eyes followed him, but not with admiration. With judgment. He saw Maricela by the lockers, the same place where it had happened. For a moment, neither moved. The air felt thick with unspoken history. He approached slowly, hands visible, posture uncertain. There was no crowd this time. No phones. Just daylight and consequences. He apologized. Not loudly, not for show. Just a simple, strained acknowledgement that he had crossed a line he never should have approached. He admitted he had been trying to impress people who wouldn't even remember his name in 10 years. He admitted he had been cruel. Maricela listened. Forgiveness didn't come instantly. It wasn't a dramatic movie moment. It was quiet and cautious. She told him that apologies didn't erase what happened, but they could start something different. She told him that respect wasn't weakness. It was strength. And then she walked away, not to escape, but because she no longer needed to prove anything. By the time the annual pep rally arrived, the gym buzzed with daylight energy. Banners hung high. Students filled the bleachers. The cheer squad took their positions at center court. Maricela stood at the front, her shorter hair catching the light, her posture unwavering. The music started. They moved as one, sharp, precise, powerful. When it came time for the final sequence, Maricela stepped forward for a solo element that hadn't been in the routine before. A controlled spin, a high kick, and then a perfectly executed roundhouse motion, not aimed at anyone, not aggressive, but symbolic. A reminder of the moment she chose courage over fear. The crowd erupted. In that applause was something deeper than school spirit. It was recognition. It was respect. And if this story moved you, if you felt even a fraction of the strength it takes to stand tall when someone tries to cut you down, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Stories like this matter because they remind us that dignity is worth defending. Before we end, here's something special. Comment the word, unbreakable, if you believe no one has the right to take your confidence away. As the rally ended and students poured back into sunlit hallways, Maricela paused by the lockers one last time. She touched her hair, now growing out evenly, and smiled softly. The hallway no longer felt like a place of humiliation. It felt like a place of transformation. She understood something now that she hadn't before. Strength wasn't about the kick. It wasn't about the viral video or the applause. It was about the choice in that split second, the decision to protect her dignity without losing her compassion. The strands that had fallen to the floor weeks ago were long gone, swept away by custodians in time. But what had grown in their place was something far stronger. Not just confidence, courage. And courage, unlike a ponytail, can never be hacked away.